Hi everybody, my name is Anne. Welcome to Art on the Creek. I'm talking to you from my home studio in Parker, Colorado, and I'm really glad you've stopped by today because I've got a really fun review for us. What you're looking at is some close-ups of a portrait that I've just finished. It's just a generic face, and I used Ali Cavanaugh's portrait colors from QoR watercolors. You guys, this one is a game changer. So if you're into portraits, stay tuned. Let's see what's so special about this set. For those of you who may not be familiar with QoR watercolors, they're made by the Golden Paint Company, and this particular set is a set of 6 5-milliliter tubes. So I like these little sample sets because they're a good way to get into something before I'm sure whether or not I really want to commit to it. The way that this is packaged is in a metal tin, and on the left you can see I've got the lid. It has little dimples in it, and that becomes your palette, which is really easy to use. I'm just kind of organizing them in an order that Ali recommends here. And then you have the little tubes that just sit in here. There's a little cardboard insert that you can lock them in, but I decided that I would just leave them loose in here like that. So without further ado, let's get going on this. Now, I fell in love with Ali Cavanaugh's art, and I will put a link up here in the corner and in the description to her channel, and up in the corner here I'll put a link to her video that I stumbled across, and I had never heard of her before, and this came up in my feed. And I was smitten. I was stunned by the level and depth of texture that she's getting in her skin. But it's like a texture of light. It's like an aura, truly, that comes out from within. And the variance in skin tones is something that's always been a little bit of a challenge, you know. But now, this particular set really makes it easy. And she also has a really cool a whole instruction arc that goes along with this. So I'm going to speed this up because I do not feel confident enough to teach any of you how to do a portrait, but I will show you some highlights at regular time. First of all, let me just say that everything you see here I did purchase with my own money. All the paintbrushes, the paper, the paints. None of this is sponsored by Ali or by QoR or by Golden Paints. This is just completely my own opinion after my first experiences using this beautiful set, jumping in with 2 feet first, not really knowing how to swim in the ocean of portraiture. So this is just unfiltered me having an experience here. So I'm going to speed this up here in just a moment. And I will just kind of go through telling you what I'm doing and why I'm doing. And I'm just really going from instinct at this point because, you know, with watercolor, we can start by building up shadows and adding warmth, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. I decided to go in with that ultramarine turquoise and do a faint wash all over, and then while it was still damp, I went ahead and added on her left, our right side of the face, the nickel azo yellow, and then I'm going in with some of that pyrrole orange to kind of create a corally pink around the eyes. And you can see kind of over there on the left where I've got the palette, some of these hues have all mixed together already in my previous play before I started before I decided to start filming, that I do have kind of a skin tone mixed there. And that's what I encourage you to do with this set. Play around, figure out what skin tone you want to mix, and all of the base colors that are under it. When you just look at someone's skin, no matter who that person is, sure, we see the initial color of the skin, but when you look at it really closely, if you, for instance, on your own body, if you look at the inside of your forearm, do you see a pink tone? Do you see a green tone? Do you see a blue tone? These are all things that you can absolutely achieve with this set because you can put those thin layers in. And because this QoR paint is so luminescent and translucent with the Aqua, that proprietary binder that QoR uses, you can really achieve amazing things. This is by far the smoothest skin that I've been able to render. I don't have all the answers yet. I'm completely bearing my soul here, and I really appreciate you guys for wanting to go along on this journey with me. But I figure if I am still trying to figure out portraiture, I think that a lot of you out there might be trying to figure that out as well. This particular set, the Perylene Crimson, that is amazing because it is truly the color of blood. That's something that each and every one of us has under our skin, and it shows through. It really does. So when you use that in your mix, it enables you to create that living person look. And I'm not claiming that this particular portrait I've done here is perfect, but what I do feel is that I made huge strides with this. And if you are like me trying to learn to master portraiture and you're just not feeling the colors, you're not getting the colors right. And I've been using professional paints for years and years and years, and I have tried M. Graham, Daniel Smith, Da Vinci, all of them, you name it. I really like Da Vinci for portraiture. I really, really do. But this particular set and the way that these glow, it's really going to make it a hard choice for me. And in fact, I'm anxious to blend these with the Da Vinci colors that I have and I've already been using on portraiture, just to see how subtle of a difference that this is and what I can create. I am in love with using that ultramarine turquoise for a shadow. It just kind of gives the piece a unique signature element that really makes the portrait kind of stand out and makes it unique. I don't really claim that this is a likeness of anybody. In fact, it's just a generic face that I drew. In fact, my daughter thought that I was making a self-portrait when I was painting this. And gosh, maybe there's something to that, right? Maybe when we just draw a generic face, there's some deep-seated psychological revelation that we're drawing ourselves in a way. What you're seeing here is really an amalgam of what I have learned from, I can't even count them, how many artists I have learned from, and teachers and instructors. And what I'm doing is I'm just really finding out who I am as a portraiture artist, and I'm learning what my style is. I'm learning how I want to accept that. And I think that that's something that I can really share with you all. And I like to talk to my students about this a lot, because we always talk about, what is your style as an artist? Well, a lot of people don't really know, and I think a lot of times it takes a lifetime to really discover that. But if you look at artists that you admire, and for me that would be like Mary Cassatt, Robert Henri, Winslow Homer, a lot of these types of artists, when you really look at them, what are the elements in their art that you like? Maybe you can try and replicate little bits. It's like a little seasoning when you're cooking, little bits of that here and there. A lot of what I learned is from my mother, and there are certain elements of her style that appear in my style that my kids and the rest of the family can definitely pick out. But that is who I am as an artist, and what I really like about exploring with this particular set of paints is how easy it is for me to combine all of those things and finally create a synthesis and put these things together to really create what I consider to be a beautiful combination of all of these things, all of these steps that I've taken in my life to get to this particular point. This is the culmination of what I've learned so far, and this particular set of paints made it easy for me to render that on paper. I can tell you though, when you're working with portraiture, you really go through the ugly face several different times, and you'll finish one part and then the rest of it looks pale. You'll go and you'll make that part stand out some more, and then something else looks wonky. So now here I was tired of her being bald, so I thought I would give her some hair. And the hair is something else. It's a whole other animal, if you ask me. And I kind of went a little bit cartoony on her hair here, but for my purposes, that was fine. I just wanted to get something down on paper, but I really like how easy this was to put the lighter colors down first and then go in and create a darker and darker brown and get the highlights in, the lowlights in, leaving that space for the highlights and really making this my own illustration of a face. And I think what this has really inspired me to do is to try my hand at a likeness. There are a couple of portraits that I found on a couple of faces that I found on Unsplash that I really, really like. And I really want to play with the skin tones because they happen to be pictures of people that were taken at the beach, and the lighting on their faces is really very dramatic. One of them, actually, the person has her back turned to us, and it's just the way that the shadows fall on the skin. So all of these little subtle nuances, that whatever it is that attracts you to any particular artist or subject matter, you know, try and add little spices of that in your work. And here with this set, I was able to do that without any difficulties at all. So for that reason alone, I think that speaks volumes, and that's one of the main reasons that I would recommend this particular set. What else can I tell you about this set? Let's see. It is carefully curated, and like I told you, I'm a big advocate for starting with that red, yellow, and blue. But this expands that. This really, for me, is kind of the perfect set of watercolors. When you're taking that red, yellow, and blue and mixing it to create your range of colors, what you really need are those in-between shades. And the Payne's gray, the ultramarine turquoise, the sap green, the pyrrole orange, all of that is really just icing on the cake for this this portraiture endeavor. And I think that if you are looking for something where you really want to get into portraiture, have it become simpler than what you've been using before, give this set a shot. I mean, and definitely don't take my word for it. Go check out Ali's page, see what she's got going on, and see what you can learn from her, because she's definitely the one to look for how to paint a portrait. I'm just the one to look for maybe these core paints might give you a leg up. And this particular color palette really just kind of was a big aha moment for me. I'll slow this down to real time here for just a minute, because I think that after we got the hair on, I think you guys can see that her face became very pale. Well, look how simple this is to just awaken it again. Now, all I've got on the brush right now is water, but I'm going to come in here with a little bit more pigment and just really get that nice, soft, very thin, very watery texture of some of this pyrrole orange mixed with a little bit of the perylene crimson, and get that over here on this side of her face, and really just accentuate the warmth that I want to emanate from this side of the face. And then we'll switch over to the other side. And here's where you can see with the translucency of these paints how beneficial it is. Because remember, I've got a lot of nickel azo yellow over on her cheek on this side, and I'm coming in with the exact same wash that I have on the other cheek. And look at how warm it is in comparison. So on her right side, our left, I've got more of a perylene crimson underneath there. And on this side that I'm working on now, I've got a lot of that nickel azo yellow under there. So we still have that great glow that's created by going in with the pyrrole orange, but it's warmer on this side. So I can really manipulate and govern that light source and really create accurate reflections of skin with this particular set. It really is phenomenal, you guys. The other little bit of advice that I can give you is use really good quality artist grade watercolor paper when you're working with portraits. This particular paper that I'm using is cold pressed, but it's a fine texture. It is Arches. And what I wanted to do, it's the Arches fine grained cold press. The reason that I made that choice is because I wanted some of that skin texture of pores to show through and to be visible. But what I really wanted was to not have to worry about any cauliflower blooms or back runs. And you know, a lot of times you can definitely manipulate those and work with them. But in this particular case, I didn't want to have to deal with that at all. So I wanted to make sure that that cotton watercolor paper was going to work in my favor. What I'm doing right now is going in with a colored pencil to try and create some wispy hairs, and I didn't like that at all. So I went ahead and just decided to erase that, and now I'm going back over and just adding another wash of these warm tones on her skin, and I decided I like that much better. It was almost that I thought the hair was the final kind of kiss of glow that it needed, but actually what she needed was a little more color in her face, and then I could focus those wispy hairs with colored pencil just out on the hair itself and not necessarily going over the face. And now it is time to take off the tape. Always, 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 no matter what kind of tape you're using or what kind of paper, I always recommend using a heat tool on it to help loosen that adhesive. Even if your tape is the most gentle tape in the world, or if you pull it at the most careful angle, it's still easy to take some of your paper away with it. So do yourself a favor, heat that adhesive up a little bit. Now I'm just erasing some of the lines that were on the outside, and we'll get rid of my eraser crumbs and just some of the pencil lines from the initial sketch, rather. That's what I'm erasing from the border here, and I'm using that little downy brush to kind of get rid of those crumbs. If you don't have a little brush like that, a drafting brush works, of course, just fine. but this is just doing some little final cleanup here. The piece measures 9 inches by 12 inches, by the way. And yeah, at first when I did this, I will be completely honest with you, I didn't like it. But now that it has sat around for a few months, I think I painted this in April, I'm really pleased with it. And I've had a lot of practice, again, doing things the way that I used to do them to try and make sure if I was convinced that this set was going to answer my problems. And you know what? I'm really, really pleased. I mean, look at this soft skin. I really like the layers of watercolor, especially on the tip of her nose. You can really see every little layer. You can see every shadow. I feel like this particular piece was such a huge learning tool for me that I wanted to share that with you guys. And honestly, I honestly usually say that as long as you're using paints that you like and that you're happy with, you can really achieve anything. And for the most part, that is true. But I will swear up and down that this QoR set opened a lot of doors for me. It sent off a lot of light bulbs, and I just want to share this with you guys. So if you're looking for something, if you're stuck and you're frustrated and you're looking for a really good portrait set, I do recommend this QoR set by Ali Cavanaugh. Okay, you guys, have a great week, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye now.